everybody. I am here with Jamie, a recent 90-day VA grad. And today I would love to hear a little bit about where you're from and about your work experience before you joined 90-day VA and started virtual assisting.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. My name is Jamie, and I live in Asheville, North Carolina. That's in the western part in the mountains. And I have had an interesting work history, mostly staying at home with my kids when they were little, and then trying to find jobs that aligned with childcare, which is very difficult,
Yeah.
and trying to find jobs that I could have my kids with me. And that's just the constant struggle. And then once they got older and were in school, I needed to have a full-time job outside of the house. And I got a full-time job at a local place here, the Biltmore Estate. They've got really good benefits, but you're away from the house 8 hours a day. And then I got into management positions there, and it was a wonderful experience. And I obviously don't regret anything. But even now, as my children are older, there's so much more going on that I feel like I'm missing. I just felt like I was
Hmm.
missing so many things and having to get my work to adjust their schedule around my schedule. And it just was becoming exhausting. And then a job that I moved into right before I started with 90 Day VA, I was taking the kids to school and then being at work. I was gone for 12 hours a day. And
Wow.
I had no energy, just absolutely nothing. I knew that I had so much more to offer than what I was finding that I could do at my jobs at Biltmore.
Hmm.
I had a friend who was actually looking for a virtual assistant, and I was like, oh, that would be really amazing. So I looked into that, and it was a weird, like hybrid virtual, partially driving 2 hours away. And I was like, no, I
Yeah.
don't want to need that. But my brother, he had actually heard of your program through different conferences that he's been at, and it was a name that kept popping up and nothing negative, all positive of just either whether he was talking to virtual assistants that went through the program or executives that had hired people from the program. I was like, okay, never heard of it. Didn't know it was a thing to even get training as a virtual assistant.
Yeah.
There's so many like YouTube videos, and
Right.
there's good information out there, but it's nowhere near the information that I've gotten from this program.
Just like the beginning.
It is. It's like
No.
little
Yeah.
nibbles. And there's a lot of stuff out there, but you have no idea if any of it is legit. I'm sure there are great programs, but there's just no way to know.
Yeah.
And so I looked into it and I watched your intro video. I was actually on a vacation watching it on the airplane. I was like, oh my gosh, this is exactly what I want to do. It was just speaking to me of being able to have unlimited options for a job
Hmm.
and unlimited income for a job, depending on how much effort you put into it,
Yeah.
and just be able to have the flexibility that I've so desperately been desiring to be a mom and to feel successful for myself too.
Hmm.
I think April 4th is when I started. I was all in. I am going to plow through this. And I was doing it after I got home from work. I had this weird hour and a half window of when I had to drop my son off at work and when my job started. So I had a little time there, and then I would do it on my lunch break. I was just cramming this information in my head and loving every second of it. I felt like I was back in school again, which it is. It's classes, it's
Yeah.
legit courses. And I signed up for the mentorship part of it as well because I wanted to gather as much as I possibly could. The information was and still is one of the added benefits, which I'll mention in a minute. The information was just incredible and laid out so beautifully and so clearly, building on each one really well. But then knowing that it's still there, and you could be like, okay, I did that module. What was it about again? Let's go back
Yeah.
and watch
Sure.
it. Take the time to get all the information, and then I can go and refer to that whenever I need to, which is amazing. And it just opened my eyes up. And I tell everybody, they're like, wait, what are you doing? I'm like, you don't even understand. You need to hear about this. It's amazing. I was talking to somebody yesterday who is working a full-time job, but I want a way to make extra money. I was like, you need to look into this because it doesn't have to be a
Right.
full-time job. It can be 5 hours a month, 10 hours a month, the amazing unlimited options that are out there. And the job posts in the members club is worth every penny. The courses are uncomparable. But the job postings, that's again another thing. You can go on Indeed and you can go on
Right.
all these different places that have job posts, but you don't know what you're getting into. Unfortunately, there's so many people that scam out there. And
Yeah.
so it's like this vast ocean of unknown. And to have a place to know that you guys have done all the vetting and you've done the research, and a lot of the times it's the members only job posts, and
Mhm.
it's just far exceeded my expectations for sure.
Oh, I love hearing that. That makes me
Yeah.
so happy. What do you think made the biggest difference in your 90-day VA experience? Because not everybody has the results that you have, and we'll get into your results in a second. But what do you think were the things that you did that really helped you to move through things quickly and get going quickly?
Yeah, that's a really good question. First of all, the more I did it, the more I had motivation to get out and see how much, like when I would get home and just literally not be able to function. I just was very motivated. I don't want my life to be like this. So that pushed me like, I'm going to do this as fast as I can. But then as I was in it, the support offered through just the Facebook group
Mhm.
alone and how you guys encourage us to connect with another person to have an accountability partner and just to see people supporting each other and encouraging each other and giving each other really helpful critiques. And it's not, oh, yeah, you're great, you're awesome. If you don't do a good job, actually, you need to do this.
Mm, good.
But it's just, it's handled so well, but you have to have that motivation to do it. It's
Yeah.
not going to just fall in your lap. You have to work for it. You have to want it. You talk about this all the time. What is your motivation? Why are you doing this? Working on your mindset. That is just grasping onto that confidence that you do deserve something better and that you're capable of something more.
Mhm.
You guys have all the tools there, but it's our responsibility to get them and use them. I feel like that I was motivated, but I saw the value in it. And you kept saying, if you do the work, if you actually do what we're asking you to do, then you are going to find the jobs, but you have to apply for the jobs. And it is overwhelming to do your first application, especially when they ask for a lot of paragraphs or if they're asking for a video. It can be very daunting.
Intimidating. Yeah.
And even though I felt very confident and I didn't feel like I had a lot of mindset stuff to get over because I had just been working through a lot of that entering into the program, but still the applications were very daunting.
Yeah.
And then when you did the application challenge, I was like, okay, what is it going to hurt? If
Yeah.
I put everything into this application, like not just toss a bunch of crap out there, but if I really put my absolute best effort into this job application, what is the worst that could happen?
Mhm.
Literally, absolutely
You
nothing.
just lose like 20 minutes of your time. And I always am
Like
like, time's gonna pass anyway. What would I be doing? Something like this.
exactly. And the more applications I did, the easier they got. And it
Like
became
a
like
muscle.
a fun game in a weird way. Maybe that's just
Yeah.
me. But I think I did maybe 25 applications and I didn't hear back from most of them, honestly. And there's a lot of mind hurdles that you have to get past.
Yeah.
And if you can jump over that and know it's not a rejection of you as a person,
Yeah.
there's so many different facets that can be why they did want to do an interview or why they didn't reach out to you at all. There's
Mhm.
so many reasons. But taking that, what did I do wrong? Is it because I don't know enough? Is it because my portfolio wasn't big enough? I had nothing in my portfolio, like absolutely nothing. I just had my application kit and my resume. And in my application kit, it was here's all the things I'm really good at. Here are some programs that I am familiar with. And I had two references in there. It was pretty minimal, but I've gotten quite a few interviews and responses because honestly, if you put yourself out there, that's the first step. If you don't even take that first step, then you're literally left with nothing.
I never
And
realized that you didn't have a portfolio. This is really interesting to me. This is really good for people to hear. A really good application kit, which is one of our proprietary things, the right jobs that aren't spam and filled with literally thousands of applicants, learning how to take your time on stuff and the mindset piece of it, those are things that are in the program too. And those are all
yeah,
things that were really important and made a big difference for you.
yeah,
I think it's
absolutely.
that I don't have enough education, I don't have enough skills, I don't have a big enough portfolio, but that's not necessarily true. That's a really good point. So you applied to 25 jobs, at least initially. And let's talk about where you're at now. We worked really hard in the course, we've applied a whole bunch. Tell us about your job now, and then what was the time frame between when you joined 90 Day VA to when you got your job?
Great question. Funnily enough, I just started my first executive assistant, virtual assistant job on Monday, and it was either the first or second job that I applied for.
Oh, wow.
And it stuck out to me. I was willing to just find something to get experience, but I really wanted to try and find something I could feel passionate about. But I wasn't going to just ignore everything else and only look for that one teeny niche job, but it stuck right out at me. It's with a contrast therapy studio, which I just recently had really learned a lot about and has been a big part of my life recently. And I really wanted to find something positive. I started April 4th with 90 Day VA and put in my application. I think the application deadline for this job was May 26th. So April 4th started 90 Day VA. May 26th, that's less than 90 days. I finished the
Mhm.
90-day VA part, but there's still so many things in the course as I'm moving on. And especially now that I'm in this job, I'm like, I don't know how to do that, but I can go here and
Yes.
learn how to do that.
Yeah.
So even now that I have the job, which I'm so excited about, but I still am learning and that I still have these tools accessible to do better and better in the job that I got.
That's an important part that we really like. We really want to be an ongoing education platform for VAs once you're in our world. I really try to stay top of the line with our education and our skills training and all that stuff. And so that's a big part of our passion. One of the reasons we have all that education that we do, but I never want people to feel like they have to do it all before they can apply for jobs. In fact, I try and say it a whole bunch so
And
that
you
nobody
do,
will.
and you do say that in almost every single class. I kept hearing it and I was watching my percentage getting closer and closer to the end. And I think when I applied for it, I had not actually finished fully. I was
Yeah.
close, but I had not finished. And I was like, what's it gonna hurt? This is the job that looks really great. And again, so they go with somebody else. Then I'll keep learning and I will
Yeah.
find that job. It's so important to have that positive mindset. And you talk about
Agreed.
this is important, this is important. It is very important to cling on to that positive mindset and also convincing yourself that you can do it,
Mhm.
but you have to put the work in.
Yes, yes. All right, last question here. One other thing that we touched on, but I hadn't realized was such an important thing too, was the importance and the reasoning that people might want to do something like this is for the work-life balance instead of being drained and exhausted from being out of the house for 12 hours a day. I tell people I work part-time, and it's true. I work about 5 hours a day and I often take Fridays off. Those 5 hours a day, I go hard. I won't even take a break sometimes. I'll pop up to eat something and then I come back down. The beautiful thing is, I get all my work done. I don't have a boss who's in charge of me. And if my kiddo is sick, okay, I'll just move my stuff around. I got to pick him up early. Okay. If he's going to see his dad for the weekend, I'll take a weekday off to spend time with him and work
Yeah.
on the weekend instead. It's that flexibility and work life balance that I forgot is a
Yeah.
huge value.
And that's really interesting that you bring that up too, because I'm still training my brain into not being in that 9 to 5
Yeah. I got to sit at this
brick and
desk all
mortar
day.
job. I had a bunch of different appointments with kids and bouncing back and forth this week in my first week. And I'm thinking Friday, I need to finish by Friday. No, I don't. I need to get this done. This is a week. I need to get this done before Monday.
Mhm.
And with my particular job, as we're getting started, we're meeting, doing a video call once a week just to make sure. But even that, it's very flexible,
Yeah.
like, and then if I need to do some computer work instead of doing this on my phone, I can, from 7 to 9, I can do some more stuff.
It's the best.
It's wonderful. I'm in that first week of it. So my brain is, wait, is this actually what I wanted? And is it working out the way I wanted it? It actually is. It's
Yeah.
pretty amazing.
Good. I'm so glad. A lot of times, especially when we were first getting started, a lot of us would take on a whole bunch of clients. We often wouldn't have Saturday and Sunday off because during the week, something would come up and we'd be like, yeah, let's go to the beach for the day. And we would take a day off then, or we would take a couple of afternoons off. I don't know, because it becomes almost a bad thing eventually because you realize you can make money anytime. You're like, I don't want to watch TV. I'll just put the
Yeah.
TV on while I get paid.
Yeah.
So work-life balance becomes challenging in another way, But when you're like children are young or when you're older kids and yeah, there's still a lot of needs that they have, or just you wanting to have a life and you can work it around work instead of having to be at this place and have no life. So I'm glad you brought that up because I forget that this isn't normal for any people because I've been
Hmm.
doing this for so long.
Yeah.
All right. So, with all of that in mind, what kind of people would you recommend this program to?
I would recommend it to anybody that needs to have a little bit of flexibility, anybody that's just unhappy in their job, anybody that is desiring something different, even just to learn new skills. And if they have a job already, but they just want to make extra money.
Insert their whatever niche you're in because people will come, I have a background in healthcare or whatever, something that feels obscure. And I'm like, number one, is that what you still want to do? Because you don't
Right.
have to just because that was in your background. Number two, there are lots of online businesses that are in those same niches and they would
Yeah.
love that you have a nursing background or that
Hmm.
you used to be working at this estate. Cool, you have great experience with customers and building amazing experiences. That is all relevant in lots of different niches and lots of different businesses. So
I would
love that.
suggest to people, don't sell yourself short. What do you want with your life? What do you want your life to look like? What do you feel you already have to offer people? And what are you capable of learning more? Just don't sell yourself short. The world is your oyster. If you choose to do this program and get all of these tools and all of this assistance and all of this support, there's endless possibilities.
I love that. Let's end on that. Endless possibilities. Thank you so much. Congratulations on your new position and your first
Thank
week at
you.
it. I love hearing these stories. If you are interested in joining 90 Day VA, you can go and watch my free class at 90dayva.com. It will tell you all about the virtual assistant industry. And if you want to get started with my program 90 Day VA, there's a way to do that too. I'll see you in the class. Thank you, Jamie.
You're welcome.